Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Good evening, I'm Vienna Shane, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. Now let's hear from Constable Sarah Wernstein with our weekly Crime Stoppers update.
The Windsor Police Service has launched an arson investigation after a fire in South Windsor was deemed deliberate. On October 16th at approximately 1:30 a.m., officers responded to a fire at a business in the 3000 block of McGregor Boulevard. After the fire was extinguished, investigators determined that a glass panel on the front door of the business had been broken. A Molotov cocktail containing a possible accelerant was also found in a bag inside the doorway. No physical injuries have been reported as a result of the fire. Damage to the business is estimated to be over $100,000. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Windsor Police Service Arson Unit or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 519-258-TIPS or leave a tip online at catchcrooks.com. I'm Police Coordinator Sarah Wernstein.
Let's head outside where Soha Asfahani is standing by with a look at our current weather conditions. Soha?
It's actually 6 degrees out here tonight. We will have a look at what the rest of the week looks like a little later in the show. Back to you, Vien.
Bookfest Windsor treated the city with a festival after a 2-year hiatus. Yuan Zheng has the story.
Separate from anything, borders have blurred into the all-encompassing.
The 21st Windsor Book Fest was held in downtown Windsor. This event, which started in 2002, is one of Canada's premier literary festivals organized by Canadian Geography. This year, the works of 28 authors were introduced over 4 days, providing an opportunity to reconnect the distance between readers and writers who had been separated for a while due to the pandemic. In Mackenzie Hall, with music of the piano to announce the star of the event, 4 poets directly recited their poems under the title of Poetry Beyond Borders.
So it was a great honor and privilege for me to be invited to the Book Fest. But as soon as I heard that, I said, I better do some research about the history of Essex County. And then I saw her name, Irene Moore Davis, and I said, I didn't know anything about her. And I went online, I saw some videos and read some articles.
And it's an absolute pleasure to be here at Windsor Book Fest this year. It's been so long since we've been able to do in-person events, and I really had a wonderful time reading with the 3 poets tonight, Kess and Keith and Menahil.
Volunteers, who are the main pillars of this event, also helped make the event a success.
Wonderful first day of Book Fest here at the beautiful Mackenzie Hall, and we had a great turnout, wonderful poets that came in tonight, and we look forward to the 3 more days.
Autumn has arrived in Windsor, where you can feel the coolness of wind. It seems that many readers will be able to cozy up with good book thanks to the book festival. For MediaPlex News, I'm Juan Jung.
Crime is on the rise in Windsor. Manvi Shetty asked the community if they feel safe in their neighbors.
Over the past week, Windsor has seen a rise of crime in neighborhoods. Do Windsorites feel safe here? Do students feel safe in downtown? We asked St. Clair students about this.
I think days will very safe according to night, as compared to night. Yeah.
I don't feel safe enough downtown. I feel like there could be measures taken by council and city services, but other than that, downtown campus, I feel safe enough to be on campus.
According to Number.com, the crime index in Windsor has reached 67.09, and many feel walking alone at night is getting riskier. I am Manvi Shetty from MediaPlex News.
It seems the apocalypse has passed through town. Kayla Ternowski has the story.
Where is my zombie horde?
This past weekend, zombies took over Windsor's streets to raise money for a good cause. The Windsor Zombie Walk has run nearly every year since its start in 2006, only stopping once in 2020 for the COVID-19 pandemic. The walk helps a lot of charities with the aid of many volunteers. Disco Jesus Windsor, a drag queen who made their start in Windsor, just started volunteering this year and says that the Zombie Walk lets its participants be themselves.
My favorite part about Zombie Walk is the freedom of expression, feeling comfortable and safe to express something that should be acceptable all year round, that we are all here because we have a little bit of a freak flag inside of us.
According to the walk organizer, Captain Hind Grinder, the group was hoping to donate about $1,000 and a few £100 of food to the downtown mission.
That's right, shamble on in. Get close.
From MediaPlex News, I'm Kayla Tarnowski.
The Walking Dead took over Windsor Street this weekend for a good cause. Road Kansoon reports.
Windsor Zombie Walk is a fun free event that takes place each year, providing funds and non-perishable for zombie-themed charity, helping people in need. This event is organized by Windsor Scare House, where zombies and survivors walk from McDougal Street to Jackson Park. Participants are encouraged to donate what they can.
We do it every year. We partnered up with the Windsor Zombie Walk, I want to say in 2018. We had 1 year off during the pandemic, but we've been keeping it going ever since. This is what we end up having when we organize it properly. We have a good turnout like this.
The Walking Dead gathered at 5:30 in the Scare House yard. Kids and families dressed like brides, clowns, soldiers, and nuns. Some spending hours doing makeup.
A little bit about some of the work that goes into this. I spend about 5 hours on this makeup. I wake up pretty early just to get all this done. It's a pretty lengthy process, starting with the latex and then doing all the blood and the makeup to go onto it. And then I come out here and just have some fun.
Jerry Wilsey spent 5 hours in his bride costume.
It's a little nervous, I guess, being my first time, but it's the first time I'd ever done like the skin effect, and just got the outfit Value Village for $13 and added some paint and stuff to it. And
organizers say it was such a hit, they will no doubt host another zombie walk in 2023. For the MediaPlex News, I am Rawat Kansoon.
Weeks away. And if you're looking for adrenaline rush, Scare House Windsor may be just what you're looking for. Donna Tuckwell reports.
At the corner of McDougal and Shepherd Street is where people go to get an adrenaline rush and maybe even face some of their fears. 14 years of evolution have created a fully indoor, multi-room warehouse where nightmares come to life. These two braved their fears and toured the haunt for the first time.
It was very dark. It was very dark, and the actors were excellent.
Actors are very professional, makeup's phenomenal.
Young Yo enjoyed the experience, but wasn't too scared.
It just scared my friends over there, because I was in front, so you know.
How scary was it?
Scary. Really scary.
Like make you scream?
A couple of times, yes. Very, very scary.
Catch you off guard. I haven't had the nerve to go through yet.
It's very dark. Some places, when the light shines in your eyes, it takes a second for your eyes to adjust, but afterwards, you're feeling your way along. You can't tell which way to go.
They did a really good job. This is excellent. I only went through one, and we still have 3 left.
For more information about tickets and showtime, go to their website at scarehousewindsor.com. The final show will be on Halloween night. I'm Donna Tuckwell for MediaPlex News.
It was a door-open event, so we sent Ken Pastishen to walk just right in. Let's watch.
Here I am at the corner of Kildare Road and St. Mary's Gate. It was for the Doors Open Windsor Walkerville Homes tour a couple of weeks ago. The neighborhood was designed as a garden city where streets and houses are built around trees.
What Doors Open means to me is a greater connection for the city of Windsor to its history. The city's growing, but we need to know what direction to go, and we can learn so many lessons from the past right here just walking around in our community.
At the turn of the 20th century, St. Mary's Anglican Church was also a beacon along the Detroit River. The architecture of the clock tower is Gothic. The rectory architecture is Tudor style. Albert Kahn, the architect of Willestead Manor, also designed this home for one of Hiram Walker's grandkids. This colonial Massachusetts-style home also has a coach house for horseless carriages. Imagine touring in a Ford Model T and seeing the Spanish-style stucco home built for Hiram Walker's bookkeeper, or this 1904 Edwardian-style home along Kildare built for the town magistrate. Next door is Cobbles, which was made of fieldstones gathered around the neighborhood. This 10-bedroom house with a balcony has a historic marker. Like many homes in the neighborhood, this one has ironwork fencing and plenty of windows providing natural light for libraries. Albert Kahn designed his home for the town's CIBC bank manager, like many of his town halls. This Jacobean Gamble-style home, also designed by Kahn, was built for the manager of the Walkerville Brewery, another historic marker. Many of Walkerville's homes and buildings were designed by this famed Detroit industrial architect. For the MediaPlex News, I'm Ken Pastushin.
September 30th was the second annual Day of Truth and Reconciliation in Canada, the day marked by Indigenous peoples and allies across the nation, where people wore orange shirts with the slogan, "Every Child Matters." Soha Asfahani has the story.
Truth and Reconciliation Day is a federal holiday which recognizes and honors the children who never returned home after being sent to residential schools.
And this day is very special to me. My dad, my grandmother all went through residential schools, lost a lot.
And the meaning for this day for me is pretty big. My grandfather ran away from residential school in grade 3.
In 1876, the Canadian government, under the leadership of its Prime Minister John A. Macdonald, passed the Indian Act.
My dad talked about the beatings that they had, and he was the older of his siblings. And I've seen the scars on his hands.
Batok Stater has lost many relatives who attended residential schools.
I would be here to give recognition to this day. Like the orange shirts that we wear, it means it's a loss of identity.
Lush confirmed that many of the children who attend residential schools were taken by force or were kidnapped by government officials. Parents who withheld their children or who tried to remove them from the schools faced arrest and imprisonment.
It's very important for all Canadians to know what happened in the schools so that we can try to never let it happen again, and just have all the future generations know the history of residential schools.
Yen is working with Scana Family Learning Center.
Today, I join with all Canadians on this National Day for Truth and Reconciliation to reflect on the painful history that Indigenous people faced in residential schools in Canada. Soha Asfahani from Kings Navy Yard Park, Amherstburg to MediaPlex News Now.
It's time to look at our forecast, so let's go down to Soha Asfahani. Soha, what does the forecast have in store for us?
Well, Vien, it's cold, wet and damp. I should have signed for last week when it was nice. Let's have a look at our 3-day forecast. Thursday, there's a chance of showers and a high of 9. Friday, back to the sun and a high of 17. And Saturday, again, it will be sunny and a high of 21. That's it for me. From the corner of University and Victoria, back to you, Vien.
Disney is for everyone, and as Mariana Yanekovic reports, even for those who are visually impaired.
Some say childhood is the best time in our lives. No worries, no problems, no fears. Just us and our friends, both real and imaginary, rolling around in a world of fantasy, flying high in the sky, diving deep into the ocean, climbing mountains in our minds. But for some people, their imagination is their reality.
Cartoons were really inaccessible to me as a kid because they were so visual. I couldn't identify with them at all because there was an awful lot happening in the cartoons that was not expressed through dialogue.
Rebecca Blevoigt was born blind. She was 5 when she first realized that not being able to see wasn't something everyone dealt with.
We had just had a visit from the principal of the School for the Blind that I would be attending, and I think it was that visit that made me start to think I wonder, and I started to realize that I couldn't see out of my eyes.
Rebecca is one of the owners of Tactile Vision Graphics in Windsor, a business that prints materials in Braille. She and her husband Emmanuel have signed a 3-year licensing agreement with Disney to produce at least 15 creative coloring books with Disney characters. Disney books in Braille had never been produced in Disney's 90-year history. Emmanuel came up with the idea.
We had just come back to Canada and he started saying, you know, our coloring books would be great for if we had Disney characters. And my immediate reaction was, well, oh gosh, you know, imagine the red tape you have to go through to get that.
Blind and visually impaired will finally be able to see Disney classics like Mickey Mouse, Bambi, 101 Dalmatian, Goofy, and many more. The process of producing books consists of taking the Disney art and adapting it in a tactile format that will make sense to blind people reading it. Rebecca believes books with Disney characters will open a window to a completely new world.
If I knew that there were Braille coloring books, if the first Braille coloring books that I ever got were Disney characters, that would be very cool. I think as a kid I would have found that extremely neat, you know, to be able to bring that and show the other children and be able to color.
According to the Canadian National Institute for the Blind, there are 500,000 Canadians with significant visual impairment. Almost 200,000 of them reside in Ontario.
The number of requests we've gotten to let them know when the books are available from adults are even more than the number of kids. So it's because we didn't grow up with this stuff either. So yeah, it's a huge lot of people that are going to be impacted by this.
Emmanuel designs graphics in Braille for the purpose of Braille readers. One of his favorite pieces of art that he created is the periodic table of elements. Although making coloring books with Disney characters fulfills him and makes him happy, Emmanuel says it's a long process since it needs to be done.
The little girl was right in front of me and she was just like, she had never touched a coloring book with her fingers. What do you think it is? It's a house. Yeah, you're right, that's a house. How do you know it's a house? There's windows. Yeah, you're right. It was the first time she was actually touching her own idea of a house.
Seeing how blue the sky looks on a bright sunny day, the simplicity of nature's beauty, or the vibrant color of a freshly bloomed flower, so many of us take sight for granted. In their modest office, their second home, Rebecca and Emmanuel don't work alone. They have their biggest supporter always by their side, Carrie, Rebecca's seeing-eye dog and loving companion. Carrie doesn't know what preconception is, but Rebecca's father says it's something Rebecca faced with since she was a child.
The biggest challenge in raising Rebecca, I think it was more related to how other people dealt with her. Everybody wanted to help her, and because of her independence, she wanted to do it herself. So it was very difficult in some ways to tell people, let her do it.
I mean, there are things that are much easier to do when you can see. Just about everything's easier to do when you can see. But I think a larger obstacle than blindness is probably the societal perceptions of what blind people are capable of. That continues to be a battle that I have to fight with just about everyone I meet. There's all sorts of societal impressions that are made before I even say a word.
It's really funny because when Rebecca was a young girl, and even into her teenage years, I thought that this girl's gonna make her mark because she was so inventive and of course she's met Emmanuel, who is a very creative young man, and between the two of them, they've come up with this phenomenal idea, and they'll do well.
Rebecca decided to embrace her destiny from the moment she became aware of it. Today, she is brave, confident, happy, and determined to bring Disney characters in lives of blind and visually impaired, especially the young ones, and take them on a journey in which they have never been before.
The most important thing, after everything and before everything, is to be true to yourself. Whatever society throws at you, Whatever other expectations people have of you, listen to your inner voice and do what's in your heart.
The Capitol Theater has a long, rich history in this city. Road Kansu reports.
The Capitol Theater is a historic theater in Windsor. It opened in 1920 and recently celebrated 100 years of history of performing arts. Capitol Theater is the largest single-floor theater in Canada, with 1,995 seats. It is now a performing arts center owned by the City of Windsor, but operated by the Windsor Symphony Orchestra.
The theater, when it first opened, would play vaudeville stage productions at the beginning, and then transition to showing cinema. On the opening night, the theater had everything from singers, comedians, a sharpshooter on stage, and then actually showed a Buster Keaton short film. So all in one day. So they kind of did a little bit of everything.
Later, through the years, famous players had ownership of the building, doing some renovations to change the layout from one space into 3 separate spaces that still exist today.
Over 100 years now, everybody who comes into this theater has wonderful memories. People in our community, people who have performed here or have worked here in the past. And so for the 100th anniversary celebration of the theater, which was in 2020, we decided to launch this Memories campaign. It's an initiative to invite the community to share their favorite memories of the Capitol Theater so we can archive them for internal use, and also to do a community message board.
Gali says people can share their memories, which will be showcased during a community event in the new year.
A lot of people love to share their memories of the theater, and we have a couple of gems that we're holding on to unveil at our February event. But there are some children and grandchildren of people who worked here in the 40s, for example, and they've captured those memories and have shared them with us.
The Capitol Theater is a treasure that will remain a witness to many beautiful occasions and will be immortal in many people's memories. For the MediaPlex News, I am Rawat Mansour.
Did You Know is a segment where Zach Ballog takes you out to see what Windsor and the county has to offer. Let's watch.
Located in Old Sandwich Town is a house full of history and mystery. So what is the story behind one of Windsor's most historic houses? I'll tell you in this edition of Did You Know? The Duff Bobby House was built here in 1798 by Alexander Duff. According to heritagetrust.ca, the Duff Bobby House spent 9 years as a fur trading operation. Politician James Bobby bought the house in 1807, and it is reported that Bobby hosted a dinner attended by the great Shawnee Chief Tecumseh in 1812. The Bobby House has also experienced some paranormal presences. Matt Pritchard, the education coordinator for Museum Windsor, discussed with me some of those hauntings.
I've worked, honestly, a few night bookings here and stuff with different paranormal investigators. None of them happened to come across a dog on the times I was here, but definitely a little boy. And they did actually find a few spirits passing in and out of here. And they did find one that felt kind of dark.
The more you know. For MediaPlex News, I'm Zachary Ballog.
St. Clair College's open house will be Saturday, November 12th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Join us at the MediaPlex to see the programs we offer. But for now, let's have a look at the people who study and work here.
Journalism enables people to be well informed. It's documenting history. It's an extraordinary way for people to be connected with their community.
What happens in the world affects us. What happens in our community affects us. What happens in the province affects us. and we get to be the eyes and ears and tell the stories. There are many stories that need to be told, and those things add value to our life.
It's neat to know that so many people are relying on me. It makes you strive for perfection, or it makes you strive for accuracy.
The journalism program here at St. Clair College is a convergence journalism program. Convergence means the merging together of print, radio, and television, and the web, and putting all different stories into 3 or 4 different platforms.
I can go out now and I can understand how to write a print. I know how to do social media. I can shoot a video. So you start to trust yourself and to use your journalistic skills.
In 21st century newsrooms, journalists have to be able to do it all.
We ask every one of our reporters to tell stories in multiple ways.
There's a different style of writing for print than there is for radio, than there is for television. And it's really important that the information gets out that is true to those platforms.
We are one of the few, if not the only, program that is actually taking students to a live broadcast and giving them that opportunity and that experience.
I want to be a journalist because I think I like to listen other stories.
午间好，这里是媒体综合新闻节目，我是谭一丹，欢迎收
I
看。
find that the students that come out of St. Clair College are already at or above where some of our broadcast employees have been over the last several years.
I feel that I made the greatest decision I could by choosing this program because I have learned so much, and I think that I can only grow from here.
I would hands down recommend the program to someone considering it. I would recommend it to someone that's not even considering it. They teach you such a vast array of different skills, different platforms, different things that you could really apply to so many different careers.
Based on literally hundreds of interns I've seen over the years, St. Clair students are better prepared to go into the work environment in media than most students coming out of colleges and universities across North America.
I think it's that very comprehensive curriculum that we have that creates converged journalists that sets this journalism school apart.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Vienna Shane, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.
It's always been my passion to be part of a news team. I love the adrenaline rush of being there when news is breaking. I wanted to learn how to get the story and know how to present it on radio, in print, on television, or the web. I wanted to learn from the best, and I did at St. Clair College.